Renaissance premiere, nothing more, nothing less. She called out the haters for being ignorant, self-hating, and jealous. And she made it clear that platinum hair has been a thing in Black culture since the Etta James era. But even with Mama Tina stepping in, the conversation didn't die down, because then came the real bombshell. An old interview with Beyoncé's dad, Mathew Knowles, started making rounds again. In it, he flat out admitted that her light skin played a huge role in her success. He said that back when Destiny's Child was coming up, the industry had a preference for lighter-skinned Black women. So, yeah, he used that to Beyoncé's advantage. He even mentioned that radio stations were more likely to play songs from light-skinned artists. Think about that for a second. So, now people are asking if she benefited from colorism. Is this whole bleaching thing just her doubling down on that? And if so, can she really cry foul now that it's backfiring? And that's not even the end of it. Beyoncé's fans are torn. On one hand, they've watched her uplift Black culture for decades. But on the other, they're seeing her take steps, intentionally or not, that seem to water down that same identity. The Levi's ad was just the tip of the iceberg. When folks dug deeper, they started pointing out how her image has been shifting for a while. Blonde wigs, paler makeup, subtle tweaks to how she presents herself in more mainstream settings. And while reinvention is part of being a pop icon, some believe this version of Bey feels like a calculated departure from her roots. One fan even said, "She looks amazing, but I wish she had worn an afro instead. We keep giving away our beauty, as if it's not enough." That comment hit a nerve because when you compare the visuals from her Black is King era to what she's serving now, the contrast is loud. Back then, she was draped in African symbolism, dark lighting, natural hair textures, and earthy tones. Now, it's bright lights, icy wigs, and skin that seems, according to the internet, a few shades lighter. Critics aren't just pointing at the wigs and the makeup, though. They're asking bigger questions about what these choices represent. Why not showcase Black features unapologetically in a campaign that reaches the world? Why lean into aesthetics associated with white glamour when you've built an empire by celebrating Black excellence? Some argue it's all just fashion, just another look, nothing deeper. But not everyone's buying that. Because if it's just fashion, why does it always seem to swing closer to Eurocentric beauty standards when the stakes are high? Why, when she's selling to the country crowd or doing big brand deals, does she soften the edges of her identity? That's where people are feeling the tension. And then came the receipts. A leaked clip, allegedly from someone on her glam team, started circulating online. In it, someone could be heard discussing the use of certain products meant to even out skin tone, products that are widely known in the beauty industry for having skin lightening effects. While the source of the clip hasn't been confirmed, that didn't stop people from running with it. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, everyone had a take. Some were defending her, saying rich people use expensive skincare all the time. Others were like, "Girl, we know what this is." Adding fuel to the fire, critics resurfaced past rumors that she'd undergone cosmetic procedures overseas. They claimed she traveled specifically to places where regulations are more relaxed, allowing for treatments that are riskier but offer more dramatic results. Of course, none of that has been confirmed, but the whispers grew louder when edited before and after photos of her started spreading, side by side, showing her skin tones seemingly getting lighter over time, especially in high-profile appearances. And then, out of nowhere, Mathew Knowles' name started trending again. That old interview hit different this time. He'd said it casually, almost like it was just industry knowledge. Light-skinned women get better radio play. He wasn't wrong, but hearing a father say it about his daughter, like it was part of the game plan, made people uneasy, especially when paired with her current image. The conversation shifted. It wasn't just, "Is Beyoncé bleaching?" anymore. It was, has she always known her light skin gave her an edge? And is she now preserving that edge? That's when even her most loyal fans started asking questions. Because while the glam is undeniable and the performances are unmatched, the image she's projecting now doesn't sit right with everybody. Not when it feels like a step back from everything she claimed to stand for. The backlash wasn't just online chatter. It sparked a wave of commentary across media platforms. Cultural critics, journalists, and even fellow artists started chiming in, dissecting every frame of Beyoncé's recent campaign. The dominant theme: identity. More specifically, whether she was trading pieces of her Black identity for broader market appeal. And that's where things got really messy. Because for a woman who once stood as a symbol of unapologetic Black pride, the shift felt jarring. Miss Tina, Beyoncé's mom, wasn't having it. She clapped back with force, posting on Instagram about the ignorant, self-hating narratives people were pushing. According to her, the entire silver look hair outfit on the carpet was part of the Renaissance film's visual theme, not some covert attempt to be white. She pointed out that platinum hair isn't new in Black culture, dating it back to legends like Etta James. But no matter how strong her defense, it didn't silence the conversation. Instead, it raised more questions about how much of Beyoncé's image is authentic and how much is curated to fit a larger, more commercial mold. Then came the Levi's ad fallout. Critics highlighted the timing of her ad dropping right after Sweeney's. While Sydney's campaign was being hailed for embracing classic American beauty, Beyoncé's was being weaponized against her, as if her blonde wig was proof of cultural betrayal. It didn't matter that Black women had been wearing blonde wigs for decades. The public had already decided this was about erasure, not expression. The narrative was set. Beyoncé was trying to look white to sell jeans. What really complicated things was the resurfacing of a deeper critique, something long whispered in industry corners, that Beyoncé has always adjusted her aesthetic based on the audience she's targeting. When the music is deeply rooted in Black culture, the visuals lean Afrocentric. But when crossing over to more mainstream, wider audiences, especially in pop and now country, the visuals soften. The styling becomes paler, straighter, more approachable by industry standards. And her new country direction only poured gasoline on that fire. Country music, a genre historically dominated by white artists and often unwelcoming to Black performers, is where Beyoncé is planting her flag next. But rather than leaning into her roots and reclaiming the genre with a proudly Black aesthetic, critics say she's leaning into the aesthetic that country audiences are used to: platinum blonde, porcelain skin, Marilyn Monroe glam. That's not just a marketing move, that's political. And for many, it feels like a betrayal. Even her dad's comments became a double-edged sword. While some appreciated the honesty, others saw it as confirmation that Beyoncé's career was engineered to exploit colorism. Mathew Knowles admitted it plainly. He pushed her because she was light-skinned and marketable. That kind of candor made people question how much of Beyoncé's career was built on talent, and how much was built on strategic image crafting that subtly distanced her from Blackness when convenient. At the center of all this, Beyoncé has remained silent. No statements, no clarifications, just carefully curated visuals and new content. And maybe that silence is part of the problem. In an era where transparency is demanded, her silence leaves room for interpretation. Interpretations that aren't always flattering. Fans are split. Some remain fiercely loyal, saying the criticism is unfair and steeped in internalized racism. Others feel disappointed, betrayed, even, by someone they once looked to as a beacon of pride. It's not just about skin tone or hair color, it's about the message behind the choices. And when those choices seem to echo the very systems that oppress, people notice. The conversation isn't going away anytime soon. Because when an icon like Beyoncé makes a move, even a fashion choice, it carries weight. And this time, that weight feels heavier than ever.